Hi everybody, it's Yasmin Boland here. How you doing? Hope you're really well. Hey House asked me to come on. I've been doing daily 11 a.m. Sessions on my page, Yasmin Boland. But today, Hey House asked me to come on and talk a little bit about something somebody found on the internet actually, about the astrology of the current world situation. Now I know you can't read that because it's unclear and backwards, but let me just read it for you. Okay, it's very interesting. So it came from someone called Sloth Soul Astrology, and it says, I know every astrologer has been like a broken record about this, but for those who don't know, last time Pluto was transiting the degrees of Capricorn that it is right now was the time of the American Revolution. Last time Uranus transited Taurus as it is right now was the end of the Great Depression. Last time Neptune was transiting Pisces as it is now marked the end of American slavery. Okay? This isn't a things will be back to the way they were time frame. This is a major point in societal evolution. So what this astrologer, Sloth Soul Astrology, the point that he's making is that we are at a point, at the turning point of evolution for humans. Now, I thought I'd come along and address that. What do you think of that? Do you feel like this is an evolutionary point in human history? I mean, I get what he's saying. He's saying the American Revolution took place. Well, I guess that was really, really important for the English and the Americans. So in some ways it was a societal turning point. Uranus transiting Taurus signaled the end of the Great Depression. Yeah, I guess that was a societal turning point, especially again for Americans and Europeans. And Neptune in Pisces like this marked the end of American slavery. Look, to me, all that is true. Like, they were important things that happened. But if I'm completely frank with you, you know, it's not hard to look at anything in astrology and see what happened last time this was going on. There's always going to be something major going on, because for my money, we are all evolving all the time. And if we're not evolving, we should be. In fact, I'm really not criticizing, because I don't criticize other astrologers. And as he said, he's just repeating what other people are saying. But I think one thing that's really interesting now, if you really want to look at the history and the astrology history of what's going on right now, it's look at the lunar nodes. Now, I don't say that just because I'm all about the moon. I say that because, guess what? The lunar nodes are actually imaginary points in the sky, which are sort of formulated by the place where, so we have the moon going around the earth and the earth going around the sun. And the nodes are basically the points where those orbits meet each other. And they're very karmic, okay? Karma being, you know, what you sow is what you reap. Karma being you make your bed, you lie in it kind of thing. And actually, what I find really fascinating about what's going on right now in terms of history is that as of a couple of weeks from now, in very early May, we're going to have the North Node. So currently the North Node is in the sign of Cancer. And in some ways that's great because it's protecting us. You know, the North Node is very protective. And in a few weeks, it's going to move into the sign of Gemini. Now, what's interesting there is that it's the absolute flip opposite of where the nodes were at the time of the Spanish flu. Now, because the nodes are karmic, we have to ask ourselves, were there lessons that we were meant to learn from the Spanish flu? Did we learn those lessons? Did we behave accordingly? You know, did we clean up our act? What did we need to do at the time of the Spanish flu? Did we learn what we needed to do? And now here's the flip side, and we're getting it all these years later. What did we learn? So it's really interesting to watch the planets moving around. Pluto takes 248 years to go around the chart. So, you know, every day Pluto in some ways is reverberating with things that happened 248 years ago, or let's say 250 years ago. There's always going to be something. Now, back 250 years ago when Pluto was where it is now in the zodiac, and we had the what do we have? The American Revolution. Sorry, I was trying to see if he'd said it was the start or the end of the American Revolution. We had the American Revolution. Now, are we going to have another American Revolution? Let's see. You know, so much now depends on how we behave. Okay, it's very easy to just, it's very easy to say, oh, everything's going to be different, you know, but I wonder, is it going to be different, or is everybody just going to be so happy to get out? They're going to race out the door as soon as we're allowed out of our houses to hug each other, have parties, go on holiday, take that trip they've been putting off. You know, I think some people are going to have started new ways of being on a very basic level. I think a lot of people like me, for example, you know, I'm doing much more yoga than I've done for years and years and years, because all of a sudden I feel like I can, and even I should, because I'm not moving around as much. But it's really going to be up to us as humans to decide, what are we going to do with this? You know, what legacy are we going to leave from what we're going through? You know, now Pluto in Capricorn is extremely interesting from the point of view that Capricorn is the sign of big business and government, and Pluto is the planet that erupts. Okay, now will there be a change in the way the governments deal with the big businesses as a result of what's going on? You know, maybe, because one thing we've seen, I think the biggest thing we've seen at the moment is that we can cut carbon emissions without the world falling apart, because the world hasn't fallen apart, you know? So maybe there is going to be some good news for climate change. Maybe the revolution this time around will be an international change on climate change, as we see the results of the decreased, you know, emissions that we've had. You know, everybody's heard about the fact that the ozone layer is healing, and there are fish back in the Venice canals for the first time in however many years. But we really have to bring it back to us. We have to bring it back to us and our intention for our lives, for our children, and for the planet. You know, how are we going to harness this energy? That's really the question here. You know, and what karma are we going to create for ourselves the next time the nodes flip? You know, like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Are we going to learn our lessons? You know, and I don't want to buy into fear. I won't buy into fear. I believe that as a human race, we are constantly evolving. And now it's time for the people who lead us to make sure that people are learning lessons and not just cowering at home in fear, you know, and working through fear. So one thing we've been doing, I'm on the Hey House page today. I've been on my own page every day at 11 a.m. London time. One thing we've been doing is we've been doing a chant, which I was given by my teacher in India, Narayani Amma. And it's a Sanskrit and Tamil chant. And the people who go to this ashram that I go to, they're from all over the world, and everybody's been doing it. And it's a really, really powerful mantra. So I thought, since I have this massive platform today, and I know a lot of people love chanting, we're going to chant this 9 times and then after that, I'm going to pick a card. So if you have a question, I'm going to pick a card, and we'll also talk briefly about the very soon upcoming full moon. Okay, so we've got a lot to get through in the next 5-10 minutes. So this is the chant. I'm just going to really briefly explain it to you. So it's Om Cream. Cream is the Bij mantra sound, or the seed sound, for the goddess Kali. Okay, now Kali, you might know, is the blue goddess, or she gets called the black goddess, and she's very fierce. But one thing I've learned about Kali during the couple of weeks I've been doing this chant every day is Kali is actually a very gentle energy. As well as being a fierce energy, she's actually pure enough that she can absorb our negativity and absorb our toxicity, and she takes it away from us with no effect on her. In fact, I felt Kali really strongly this morning when I was chanting this chant. And the message was, for me, was we all have to keep clearing ourselves out during this time. It's a clearing out time. And that does actually work with Pluto in Capricorn. The Pluto in Capricorn energy is very much about blasting through anything that's poisonous and getting rid of it and sort of transmuting it into the ethers. So we have Om Kreem, which is the Kali Bij sound, Maha Kali, which means Mother Kali or Goddess Kali, Sarva Rogam, that means all disease, all negativity, all toxicity, Nasi, Nasi. And Nasi actually has two Bij mantra sounds in it. Na, which means soul, and Si, which means fire. Okay? So in fact, what we're doing is we're calling on Kali, the goddess, to help us blast away all negativity, all poison, all virus, all anything negative, to blast it away with our soul fire. Okay, so we're going to do that. So if you'd like to join me, we're going to chant it 9 times. If you have earphones on, please put them on. I'm sorry if you're leaving me messages, I actually can't see them on Facebook, unfortunately, but I'll be able to read them all after, and I will with pleasure. I just said hi because sometimes when I do that, it allows me to see the messages. So here we go. So close your eyes. Actually, we're going to just do a tiny little ceremony around this, okay? Just breathe. We offer our salutations to Maha Kali to accept our prayers to destroy the virus, to heal our families and friends, our communities, our cities, our countries, and our world. And now please call in the name of someone in your life who needs particular healing. And if that person's you, that's fine. Envisage us as a circle of healers around the world. We're going to become with this chant and put them in the healing circle that we're creating energetically with our chant. Here we go, 9 times. Om Kri Mahakali Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi. Om Kri Mahakali Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi. Om Kri Mahakali Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi. Om Krim 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 Mahakali Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi. And just sit with the energy for a moment. And just feel fear and darkness and negativity falling away from you as you emerge into the light. There's a strong plutonic energy, and Carly is extremely plutonic. And the energy is all about rebirth. So how are you going to rebirth yourself as a result of this cycle? Now we send out the healing energy to our families, friends, our community, our cities, our countries, and planet Earth. It is indeed our time to evolve. But to evolve, we have to live consciously and intentionally with the aim of moving forward as a race. So now let's make a pledge. I intend to evolve. Just put your hands between your breasts. I intend to evolve. So be it. And we're just going to end with a three-line chant to surrender everything we've done to the goddess, Narayani. Om Namo Narayani. Om Namo Narayani. Om Namo Narayani. And we surrender it all to the Divine Mother, knowing that the Divine Mother will always take care of her children. All right, so let's have a look now at the upcoming full moon, which is fast approaching, okay? It's actually going to be the full moon in the sign of Libra. And this is, I'm going to be looking at my Hay House Moonology Diary 2020, which is, of course, sold out around the world. Thank you to everybody who's bought it. And we've actually just finished work on the one for 2021. And actually, let me just say something else astrologically. When I was writing the diary for next year, for 2021, I was thinking, gosh, this year's going to be easier than next year. Because this year, the transits are quite gentle. And even though a lot of people are suffering, and you know, there are people who are doing it tough with their mental health issues from confinement or struggling financially, there's also a feeling of the moment, I think, of the world coming together to try and help each other as much as we can. So that is one positive thing that's coming out of this year. However, when you look at next year and the astrology, there's some really tough aspects. And my feeling is if we don't learn our lessons this year, next year is when we're going to be really paying the price. You know, we've all seen the memes where we see things like, you know, your ancestors went out and, you know, fought in wars for you and, you know, lived with bombs dropping around your heads. And what we're being asked as a generation or generations is to sit on the couch and watch Netflix for a couple of weeks. Now, I know that simplifies it a lot, and I know that some people are doing it very tough, but for a lot of people it's not a lot more complicated than that, than staying home with their family and chilling out until this whole thing is over. And I know that's not everybody, but that's probably about 80% of people, I'd say 75% of people. But next year, there are some really gnarly astrology alignments where I feel like if we don't learn our lessons now, next year is when we pay the price. So just be aware of that, okay? All right, so let's talk about the upcoming super full moon in the sign of Libra. Okay, now Libra is the relationship planet. The relationship sign. So having the full moon in Libra, which we get every year, but having it now with everything that's going on, it's like it's supercharging things. So one thing, if you want to live consciously and intentionally now, one thing to do is to be really, really aware, of how you are being in relationships, okay? We are all stuck at home with our family. I'm here with my husband and son. Thank God. Some people are alone. That is much tougher, you know. But some people, I've got one friend who's at home with just her and her 4 children. Can you imagine? You know, they range from, I think, 2 years to 14 years old or something like that. And she said it's pretty stressful and it's kind of become anarchy in her house because, you know, she's trying to work from home and she's got, you know, all this going on. So what I'm trying to say is we all need to think about our relationships, especially because April the 7th in the States and April the 8th pretty much everywhere else will bring the full moon in Libra. Now, full moon is when all the energies come up, okay? All the energies come up. And that's why that's the time to deal with them, okay? So if you are having relationship issues with someone right now, maybe because you're cooped up in confinement, or maybe because you're far away from them and it's really upsetting you, whatever the case is, now is the time to work on our relationships. So it says in here, think about your most important one-to-one relationships and be honest about where they're going right or wrong. Okay, does one of these relationships involve drama that you are ready to move on from? And Lord knows, when you are stuck in a house with someone, possibly for weeks and weeks and weeks, it's time to let go of any dramas that you can, because you know what? This can be a special time, you know? I mean, I know I've only got 1 child, so maybe it's not quite as chaotic as having 4 kids at home, but I think that I'm going to look back on this as, you know, a special time that we had together as a family. Because, you know, we never have this amount of time together, except sometimes on holidays, but not, you know, not on this sort of, not in this way. It's different. And all our kids, you know, however old they are, if they're old enough to remember this, they're going to look back on this time with wonder. And it's also one last thing. I don't want to be too insistent about everything, but I think it's really important to say, be a beacon of light for them, you know, and get them to meditate with you or chant with you or do yoga with you. Set the intention in the morning when you do your meditation. Today, my kids are going to do yoga with me, for example, because we need to help them through this period in a way that's going to make them stronger, you know. And just one other thing, there are a lot of kids right now who've got nodal activity in the sign of Virgo. And I remember reading about it a couple of years ago, that all those kids are all going to be slightly obsessive compulsive. Well, now we know why, don't we? Because they're growing up in a time of washing your hands 27 times a day. And, you know, when the postman delivers something, you leave it in the corridor and you spray it with disinfectant before you open it and things like that. It's so interesting the way it's all panning out. So let's now finish by a card, okay? So I would like you to, if you have a pen near you, or if you're brave enough to write your question in the comments, I would like you to really formulate your question now before I take the card. And I think don't make it about COVID-19. Make it about something in your life that you need to know about, and write it down on a piece of paper. Or if you're brave enough, write it in the comments. What do you need to know? And I am using, for anyone who doesn't know, my beautiful Moonology cards, which are from Hay House. And I believe you can still buy them on Amazon, because you know what? Amazon's going to run out of stock soon too. Apparently they're not, I don't think they're filling up their warehouses for a while. So, all right, so what do we need to know? I'm going to formulate my question silently. Formulate your question now. What do you need to know? Okay, here is our card. Are you ready? Oh, it's quite true, isn't it? Your commitment is being tested. Obviously, we are all being tested at the moment. You know, how strong are we in our commitment to, you know, ending the virus, being a better person? You know, here we go. There could be some challenges coming your way, but they're just the universe's way of testing you. Now, I'm going to tell you what my question was, because it might make you laugh, and it can also show you how the cards are accurate and also how to interpret them. So my question was, what do I need to know in order to get my son and my husband, who's the tougher nut to crack, to do yoga with me today? Okay, I've been doing yoga every day with this fantastic session that goes on in India. So my question, how do I get them to do yoga? Because I know that we need to all stretch. And my husband's particularly resistant to it. He's very sort of French Cartesian, I think, therefore I am. He's the most wonderful man in the world, but he doesn't want to do yoga. So there could be some challenges coming your way, but they're just the universe's way of testing you. See, the universe is testing me. How much am I willing to insist on the yoga? I wonder what your question was. The first quarter moon calls for you to face any hurdles with confidence. Okay, what do you actually think is possible? You know, what am I saying? Oh, he's probably never going to do yoga. Like, that's the space I'm coming from. That's not the space to come from when you want something, is it? So I get as many lessons as anyone in these things. If you believe you can do it, then you probably can. If you spend your life affirming that something is too big for you to surmount, it probably is. See how it works. I mean, I wrote this and I'm telling myself, but it's so true. Do you believe your dreams will come true, or have you secretly already given up? It's a really good question to ask yourself. So the attunement, because every card has an attunement. I am committed to my dreams and move towards them with confidence. So let's all say that together. I am committed to my dreams and I move towards them with confidence. Okay, let's say it one more time. I am committed to my dreams and I move towards them with confidence. And that's the spirit that we have to tackle, whatever it is that we're thinking of. The answer to your question, this is one of the alternative meanings, is yes, but not yet. Yeah, well, until I kind of change my mindset on, you know, getting hubby to, you know, make like a yogi, it's going to be hard. Yes, but not yet. You're halfway to your goal. You still need to put in a bit more effort. Sometimes we just need to realize how much we want something. You need to recommit to someone or something. So there you go. The Moonology cards speak the truth, as always. All right, so I'm going to leave it there. If you would like to have a daily session like this, if you're on Hay House, I'm doing these every single day at 11 a.m. on my page, Yasmin Boland. I will link my name as soon as I get off here, because I don't think I linked my name, but maybe Tom has done that for me. Tom, I hope you're really well. That's Tom over at Hay House, who I'm sure is watching right now. And I'm wishing you all the best for this strange cycle. Try and find the good, try and make the most of it. And I'll be back on Hay House, at least, I think it's April the 8th, for the full moon ceremony, which we're going to be doing together, which we do every month. Lots and lots of love to you. And I'm going to sign off now. See you later.